Hi, this is Allie from the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet. And today, as promised, I'm here to tell you a few things about myself. Because I figured, since you're watching all these videos and listening to what I have to say, you might want to know a little bit about the person who's saying them to you. So, I actually have been tagged on Instagram a few times now to share 10 or 15 things about myself, and I haven't actually done it, so I figure I'll just do it in this video, and that'll be that, okay? So I'm going to tell you 10 things about myself, and then I am still going to tie it into why I think it relates to you and why you should care, because I think that there should still be a purpose to this video. So that's what we're going to do. So, number one thing, I was born on the coldest day of the year in 1989 in Red Deer, Alberta. It was so cold that my dad actually couldn't leave the hospital because his truck was frozen shut. Number two, was always a very, very, very high-strung, stressed-out kid. I was literally sent to the guidance counselor in grade 1 because I was so stressed out. And in grade 3, the first time I got 9 out of 10 on a spelling test, I cried for like an hour, and the teacher had to console me. So I just kind of, I guess I started life with a very strong sense of needing to be perfect. And in grade 5, my family moved from Red Deer to Calgary, and I was put in Mrs. Lake's class, and I credit her with basically my doing well in school and doing well in life. She saw that I was intelligent and I was good at getting by on not trying very hard, and she pushed me to do better. And I thought for the first 2 years, she was my teacher for grade 5 and grade 6, and I thought the entire time that she hated me, but it turned out she actually just saw potential in me and wasn't gonna let me kind of coast by on not trying very hard. And I actually still have a relationship with her, so if you're watching, hi, Miss Lake, thank you that I'm a success. So that was that. And then fourth thing is I was a drama kid for my entire childhood. I was in drama, I was in all the plays, I was in dance, I was in musical theater, I was in choir, I took voice lessons, and my times performing on stage when I was a kid were by far and away the happiest memories of my entire childhood, for sure. I was even a cheerleader. If you can imagine that, I was a cheerleader. And it was essentially like my secret identity because we had to dress pretty sexy when we were performing our cheers and stuff. And in real life, I did not dress like that at all. I pretty much always had my hair in a ponytail and was wearing like 45 different layers. And so people didn't actually even know that it was me performing as a cheerleader. So that was kind of funny. Fifth thing. I went vegan when I was 16, and no, I went vegan when I was 17, and it was not because of ethics or because of health. It was really just one of those things that I just knew I had to do. It was a very strange thing. My sister was vegetarian, my mom was pseudo-vegetarian, and I just was like, I am never going to eat animal products ever again. And then I started reading about it, and then I started doing research about it and discovered, I read Diet for a New America, and I read all those books on what was going on in the animal for food industry, and obviously that reinforced my choice, but it was, I just kind of intuitively made this choice when I was 17 that I was never going to eat animal products ever again, and I haven't. And then the same thing happened with raw foods. About 6 months later, I read a book called Raw Food, Real World, and I had been looking into the raw foods diet for a while, and then I just decided that I was never going to eat cooked food again. And so I've never actually struggled to maintain a raw foods diet for myself because, number one, I felt so much better pretty much immediately eating a raw foods diet that I just never wanted to go back to eating cooked foods again because I had struggled so much with my health and feeling so crappy. And also because raw foods literally just taste so much better to me than cooked food. Now, anytime I taste cooked food, it all just kind of tastes like burnt salt. So that's just kind of something that was in my life. Okay. Sixth thing. When I was 16, I started practicing yoga with the money that I earned from my very first job that I got at a health food store. And I told everyone that I was doing it because I wanted to maintain my flexibility because I was dancing over the summer. So I wanted to maintain my flexibility over the summer. So I had bought like the summer pass at the yoga studio that was closest to my house. But the real reason was that it was like the first time I ever felt like safe and like I belonged somewhere. And I continued to practice yoga after that, pretty much for that reason, even though I was a practicing Christian and my church did not think that was a very good idea. It was just something that I couldn't not do. So I am literally coming up on my 10-year anniversary of practicing yoga coming up this year. And yeah, I think that I'll probably practice for the rest of my life. 7 was I always really enjoyed learning, and I always really enjoyed school for the learning aspect of it, and I actually liked all subjects. I liked math, I liked English, I liked science, I liked all the performing art classes I got to take, and so I really liked learning, but I didn't enjoy the social aspect of high school so much, or school in general, so I actually graduated 6 months early. And then when I was 18, like 2 days after I turned 18, I boarded a plane to go to Bible school in New Zealand, which was quite honestly the most horrific and horrifying experience of my life. However, it's also the thing that I think pretty much gave me the power to be who I am today. And so in a lot of ways, that experience could have crushed me, and it could have taken me down, and it could have made me, I don't know, give up in a lot of ways, but instead I feel like it really made me stronger, and it made me decide who I wanted to be, and by kind of forcing me to decide who I wanted to be, because I was so very much not accepted there. And a funny little side fact about that is when I was there, they told me that my raw foods diet was from Satan, and that it was going to make me judgmental of everyone around me, and I was going to become this terrible, horrible person being on a raw foods diet. And so they told me that they were not going to support me in doing my raw foods diet, and I was to eat what everyone else was eating. And of course, everyone else was eating like pasta and hamburgers and casseroles and fried chicken, and I was like, there was no way at all that that was going to happen. So I ended up just eating kind of whatever fruits and vegetables were around and that I could get my hands on. And inadvertently, I started eating this very simple, very basic raw foods diet instead of the gourmet kind of nuts, seeds, you know, pseudo cooked food that raw foods diet that I was doing before. And essentially I found that that way of eating made me feel so much better, and I was inadvertently doing the 80-10-10 diet, I guess, before I knew what that was. And that is essentially the raw foods diet that I follow to this day. So their rejection of my doing the raw foods diet was actually the thing that got me to do the raw foods diet that I still do. So like I said, there was lots about it that really changed my life in a really good way. Number 8, I've never smoked a cigarette, and I've never been drunk, and I don't think that I ever will indulge in drugs or alcohol or cigarettes ever in my life, because it just really is something I have never had a desire to do. However, I have dyed my hair, I have piercings, and I have tattoos, so I'm not a totally pure. Number 9, I have lived since August 2013, I have lived in 9 houses in 6 different cities, and I intend to continue to add to that list. My life has fully and completely transformed itself since 2010. It's completely unrecognizable. And so number 10 is what the thing that I want to say is that, you know, I am a completely different person than I was when 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And it has everything to do with following my heart. So like if you have maybe I don't know, notice a theme in my life, it's been a lot of just following that thing that I wanted to do, even though I didn't really know why I wanted to do it. And taking the experiences in my life, good and horrible, and allowing them to make me better. And so I literally went from working a job, like minimum wage, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to make money, trying to survive, trying to live on my own, trying to do all this stuff, to this like amazing life that I live now, where just opportunities seem to kind of crop up in my life, just gets better and better and better. And that is the thing that I kind of want to leave you with, is that it doesn't matter where you came from, and it doesn't matter what happens to you, and it doesn't matter who believes in you and who doesn't believe in you. And like, I just, not to kind of sound sob story-ish, but you know, like I definitely had people along the way in my life kind of see that there was something in me that maybe wasn't just normal or average, but I wasn't necessarily coddled, and I wasn't really like treated as though I was this special human being that had something special to offer all the time. I think that I did have a few of those people that came into my life and told me that I was special, and I think that we all have that. But at the end of the day, what happened was that I decided I wanted to have a special life, and I decided I wanted to have a good life, and that I wanted to be happy, and that it didn't really matter where I came from or what had happened to me, that I got to decide how it affected me, and I got to decide how it shaped me. And I believe we all have that choice. It doesn't matter what you've gone through, it doesn't matter who's told you what about you, it doesn't matter anything like that. You still have the power to decide who you're going to be and what kind of life you want to have. And I am living proof that that is true, that you can have whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want. And it doesn't matter where you came from, and it doesn't matter what has happened to you, you can do whatever. And so that's essentially why I do the work that I do, is because I want to encourage every person out there that, you know, you are special, you have something to offer, and you can have whatever life you want. You just have to believe it for yourself. And you're the only one that has to believe in you. And so that's my 10 facts about me. Let me know if you like this video, if you want to kind of know more about my personal life. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.